name is Randy Morrison, and I am going to talk to you today about acupressure. Acupressure is an ancient healing art developed in Asia to use the body's natural self-healing abilities. You can use fingers, elbows, knees, or any other part of the body to press on these acupressure points that run along the meridian lines. Now, the meridian lines are lines in the body in which the chi, or prana, or ki, which is energy, runs through these lines. Our body in Chinese medicine is made up of 5 different elements. It's the wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Used to analyze different health problems. So if somebody comes in with a disease, then in Chinese medicine or acupressure, we look at these different elements to see what's out of balance and causing these diseases. When the element is out of balance, the disease can show up in the body as in a physical problem, as in the shoulder. The meridians are blocked in the shoulder. You might not have full range of motion in the shoulder. Or it could show up in the organs of the body. And each of the elements have different organs that coincide with the element. The elements relate to each other and can balance each other out. So if you have a deficiency in one, then you can use the other elements to help boost that element and keep it supported. A good way to remember how the elements work is that when one burns wood, you burn it with fire, which is made from the wood burning, is the earth, is the resultant of the burning. Metal is found in the earth. When metal flows, it looks like water, and then you need water to make wood, to make a tree. Okay, so that's one way that the elements can kind of correlate and work with each other. Now, each of the elements can be unbalanced by different things. So, wood is your spring element. It's more, you'll see it more present in the spring. Each element also has a yin and a yang, which yin is the feminine side, yang is the masculine side, and a organ that correlates with it. So in wood, the yin organ is the liver, and the yang organ is the gallbladder. The wind is what can make these unbalanced. So in the spring, if you think about it, it gets more windy outside. The wind's blowing, and you might have a little bit more of an imbalance in the springtime. And when somebody is windy, that can mean that they have more air, more flatulence happening, they burp more often, or it can be they are windy in their mind. They can't slow down their mind, and they are always thinking. So that's the wood element. The liver and the gallbladder can be affected by this. So when somebody comes in and they might have liver problems or gallbladder issues, there's probably an imbalance in their wind in these channels. The fire, of course, is hot in the summertime, so the summer is the season that correlates with fire. The yin organ is the heart, fire. You have fire in your heart. You love passionately. Your heart is your main pumper to get all the blood through the body. So that is fire in the heart. Then the yang organ is going to be the small intestines for fire. Heat, of course, can be the imbalance. So if it's really hot outside, you might need water, which is a cooling one, to cool down that fire just a little bit. The small intestines is the organ going on. So if somebody has bowel problems or any stomach issues going on in the small intestines, there is an imbalance in this element, in the fire element. So you need to figure out which one of the other elements can support it to help even out and balance back these elements. The earth is going to be in the late summer. The yin is the spleen, and the yang is the stomach. So again, any stomach issues will show up here. It's very damp in late summer. That's when the summer storms start really starting to happen, and we're kind of transferring into the fall. So dampness is key here. So any discharges that somebody might have going on, that's damp, mucousy, again, dampness in the body. If they're clammy, that's dampness showing up in the body. So there's an imbalance in the earth. Metal is the fall. So the yin organ is the lungs, and the yang is the yang is the large intestines here. This is very dry. The fall becomes very dry. It's starting in late summer when the storms are happening, and then it starts drying up for the fall. So any dryness, if they have a dry nose, dry throat starts happening in the fall, there is an imbalance in the metal. It does not have to happen just in the season that it's happening. So if somebody in the summertime is very dry, then there's something going on with their imbalance of metals. So you want to just kind of maybe boost up the wind and try to support the dryness and get them back to being more damp. Water is the winter. That's when a lot of snow is happening, rain. So water is the winter. It's cold. So if somebody's having fire and they're too hot, you might need water to help cool down some of that fire. The yin organ is the kidneys, and the yang is the bladder. So if you think about it, water, the kidneys are what filters our fluids, and then your bladder is what eliminates the fluids. So that helps you figure out which organs correlates with these with the water element. So then you have all of those elements. Now if they're unbalanced, this is going to show up in the meridian lines. There are 72,000 meridian lines in the body. In Chinese medicine, they work 12 main meridian lines. Okay, the liver, the gallbladder, heart, small intestine, spleen, stomach, lungs, large intestine, kidney, bladder, the pericardium, and the triple warmer are another part of the fire. It's a different fire. So when any of these are unbalanced, then that shows up in the disease. So our goal is to balance these. You can do this by acupressure. So what happens is, let's talk about maybe muscle tension in the body. When somebody sits at a desk all day and they're using that one hand for the mouse, because a lot of people do that these days. They're sitting at desk, their shoulders are rounding forward, they're using one arm for the mouse, and they're turning their neck one way to look at a computer screen. So they are going to start getting pain in that one side. The meridians are bilateral, so there's one on each side. So let's talk about the neck and the shoulder. That is going to be your gallbladder and liver. All happening right up in here. So somebody's sitting at the desk all day, they're using their mouse, and all of a sudden they start feeling a pain on their one side. Let's say their left side. They start feeling that pain in their neck and they just kind of ignore it. It's still there, they're trying to ignore it. Hopefully it'll go away by the end of the day. Well, it doesn't, and they've just ignored it. It's something they have to deal with. Your body's going to react to that. It's not going to just let you hurt and not let you do anything about it. So not only are you hurting on one side, but you have the meridians on both sides. So the body's going to react by saying, okay, you're not going to pay attention to me, so I'm going to send it to the other side of your body. So the next day you're working, that pain still comes back, but now it's on both sides of the shoulders. So now you're hurting on both sides. Okay? You still don't do anything about it. You don't get a massage. You don't take anything to help relieve that pain. You just keep on working. So now your body's going to start getting mad at you, and now it's going to be more intense. Okay, your body's trying to tell you something is wrong, please fix me. So it's going to get more intense. When you still don't listen to it and the intensity is there and you're still not going to listen to it, the body's going to make that pain start going up. So then you start getting headaches. And that's why a lot of people come in with headaches from working at a desk all day. It's because their shoulders started to hurt, or they had a pain somewhere and they ignored it, and now the body's kind of getting mad at you and saying, why aren't you fixing me? Why aren't you paying attention to me? So it went from one side, now it's on both sides, then it got more intense. Now it's going to radiate up and give you a headache. For some reason, you still don't understand that your body's trying to tell you something, so then you are going to get that full body hurt. Fibromyalgia patients have this a lot. Even though fibromyalgia sometimes comes from a traumatic injury, it's going to show up in the body. it's going to make your whole body hurt. So this is why we want to pay attention to our bodies. And you can do little self-treatments also to help relieve some of that pain. So you want to pay attention to what your body's telling you, or it's going to start going to all the body and tighten up those muscles, affect those organs, affect those meridians. Now there's other ways that it can show up in the body. Not only physical, like the example I just gave of sitting at a desk all day, but it can also be emotional. When you have a lot of stress happening with you, say you are having some family issues right now, everybody's fighting in the family, and you start feeling your body just tensing up, you're holding on to something, holding on to that negative energy that is coming into your body. Your shoulders start rising, and you can tell when somebody's depressed, you can tell when somebody is hurting because they start rounding forward. Our body kind of closes up around this heart. We're protecting our heart, okay, and our solar plexus and all these energy things on the front of us. So when we start closing up, we are going to start blocking energy lines. So that's why when people get really stressed out and they don't deal with what's happening, they keep it inside, you start blocking those energy lines. And most of the time, people who get really stressed out get illnesses a lot. They get colds, they get stomach issues. A lot of people with ulcers or stomach problems, they are holding so much stress and negative energy in their stomachs and in these meridians and not dealing with it, so it's going to show up in these bodies. So what you need to do, not only do you need to deal with things, but you also need to listen to your body and see where it's showing up and why it's showing up. So acupressure is going to help relieve that. We are going to press on points along these meridian lines. You feel for these points. They are going to feel sometimes like muscle tightness. Sometimes they're going to feel a vibration. Sometimes you'll feel heat. When you feel these things, something different along these lines, then you want to press. You want to hold them for about 10 to 20 seconds. You press on these points. A lot of people you'll see walking around and they'll grab their neck like this and press down, and that's doing acupressure. We're pressing on these points to help relieve that stress along the lines. They just don't realize they're doing it. So not only does it help release emotional tension, but it can also strengthen your immune system. As long as these meridians in the body are clear and energy can flow freely, then your immune system is strong. The energy can go through the organs clearly, and then you can be more healthy. Okay? So when somebody comes in, a lot of what you want to look at is not only physically what's going on with them, but look at how they hold their bodies. So if somebody comes in and they're rounded forward, you might ask what kind of job they do. You might, you don't want to get too personal right away. Think about animals. When a dog comes up to you, if they like you, the first thing they do is roll over and say, rub my belly. Okay? Us as humans, we don't do that. We hold our chest forward. If we don't know you, we cross our arms. We're protecting our energy in the front. Okay? If you see somebody that's depressed, they are rounded forward and they're protecting themselves here. So when we meet people, you meet some of those people that are wide open and they're just like happy and they're jumping around and they're very open with you. Okay? That's like a dog coming and rolling over and showing you their stomach. Then you see other people that are crossed arms, they aren't real sure about you yet, and they're protecting themselves a little bit more than other people. So using acupressure, we are going to relieve some of these stresses in the body, open up those energy lines so not only can the person be more healthy, but the energy is flowing, the tension in the muscles have gone away, and they can live a healthier life. Another example I like to give and what acupressure can help is when you're in a car accident. Say you were in a car accident 5 years ago. You get whiplash. The first thing your head does is it goes forward and it whips back. Okay, when we do that, we have neck pain, we have shoulder pain going down, we get headaches. You go and you get it fixed. Our body has memory. These meridian lines or energy lines, they have memory. So it keeps that memory in there. You've dealt with it. You think you're good. It's clear. All of a sudden, you go and you sneeze. And when you sneeze, you do the same motion that you did with whiplash. And when you do that motion, when your head goes down and you come back up, all of a sudden you had the same pain you did 5 years ago when you were in a car accident. Because our bodies have muscle memory, then when we go back and we do the acupressure on those points, even though you got it done 5 years ago and you thought you were better, when our body tightens back up to protect us, then we go back in, hopefully these points will release a little bit quicker. When the body remembers, okay, well, she touched me there before and I got a massage there and chiropractic care, acupuncture, then those points will release quicker and then you will have the relief of the muscle tension quicker. If you don't do anything about it again, then again, you'll go through those steps of it going to the other side of the body, it going up in the head, and getting more intense, and then the whole body will be hurting again. So, just so you know, your body does have muscle memory, and acupressure can help with relieving that muscle tension. Because this is a self-healing thing, you can treat yourself. You can, again, point especially in the shoulders. With low back pain, if you put your pressure points right here in the low back and going right up next to the spine, and you just press in and hold, and that relieves a lot of pain, okay? Not only do we do it to relieve pain, emotional pain and all that, but we can also help other things. Pregnancy. If somebody is infertile, or not necessarily unfertile, but just having problems getting pregnant, for some reason they are holding something in their sacral chakra, in their lower chakras, their root, and protecting that part. There are acupressure points that you can press in the lower body and follow those meridians up through the body that will help somebody who is having problems getting pregnant, and they are able to, they're not infertile, but just having fertility problems, relieve some of that pressure in there and relieve some of the energy block so that the chi can flow freely through there, and then hopefully in a few months, once they try or once they forget about what's happening and they deal with what they were holding down there, then they can get pregnant. So that is one of the things that it really helps with is pregnancy. A lot of people seek out acupressurists and acupuncturists for that. So in conclusion, the acupressure can be used for several things. It can be used for not only muscle tension, but emotional distress. It can be used for pregnancy, and it can be used to open up those meridians and help support your immune system so that you can live a healthier life. Our body is made up of the 5 elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. And if one of those elements is out of balance, then that needs to be balanced in the meridians so that it does not show up later in the body as a physical element or an emotional element or just problems later on with disease in the body. Okay, so I am going to show you a demo next on acupressure points in the shoulders and the neck to prevent shoulder and upper back pain and also headaches. Thank you.